Welcome back to the IBFP. Here's your host, Boxing New.
Don't compare Terence Crawford with Canelo or Inoue. And look, let's break it down honestly and objectively as possible. And Terence Bud Crawford is an excellent fighter. He's arguably pound for pound number 2 in the entire world. Terence Bud Crawford has been undisputed at 2 weight classes. He's a 3-weight world champion. And you know what? He is an elite fighter, and he's a Hall of Fame fighter. Much respect to Terence Bud Crawford. No hate, no disrespect, but simply no lies and no ass kissing. We got to keep the same energy. Now, when you look at it, a lot of people have been comparing Terence Crawford to the greatest fighters of our time. They've even been comparing this man to Canelo and Inoue, acting like he put in the exact same work, which he simply didn't. First off, Canelo and Inoue are both 4-weight world champions. Terence Crawford's a 3-weight world champion. So we got to clear that up right away. And also, when you look at Terence Crawford's run at 140 pounds, when you take a look at that run, you see that was the weakest run in the history of boxing, aside from Devin Haney's run against George Kambosos at 135 pounds. Both of them runs for Undisputed was ass juice, and they don't even deserve to be called undisputed runs. I'm sorry, because it's meaningless when you have a run against a bunch of nobodies. That's not a real run. That's nothing. It's not like you took the belt from all these undefeated champions and you had to go through this and go through that. You went and beat easy guys. That's what you did. So, I'm sorry, his undisputed run at 140, not impressive at all. It was garbage. Let's just be honest. You just collected belts for an accomplishment. So it's great that you can call yourself a two-time undisputed champion in 2 weight classes. That sounds good, but when you look at the reality behind it, you didn't beat nobody at 140. And I'm a Terence Crawford fan telling you this. Understand that. Now, you see Terence Bud Crawford did fight and beat Errol Spence, arguably the number 1 fighter at 147 at the time. So I give him 100% full credit. No excuses for Errol Spence. He went in there and whooped this man's ass. You can't take a shred of credit away from Crawford for that win. But the problem that I have is it's only 1 win. It's only 1 win. You don't have 20 wins. You haven't fought all these killers. This is just 1 guy. And you beating Errol Spence, a guy who's shown you that he does not make adjustments. Who's shown you he is one-dimensional in his thinking. He's shown you this fight after fight. He doesn't fight a different way. He doesn't approach things differently. This is who he is. So you beat him. Congratulations. But that's 1 guy. He's not, you don't have no resume full of killers. Let's not pretend like Jeff Horn's a monster. Let's not pretend like Kell Brook wasn't a Walking Dead zombie. Let's not pretend like Sean Porter wasn't already really retired. Let's not pretend any of these things. We understand that you have 1 significant win, and that's Errol Spence. 1 significant win does not put you up there with Canelo and Inoue when it really comes down to resume and how truly great you are. Yes, you have an accomplishment of being undisputed at 140, but I'm sure anybody could have done that if the division was weak, similar to Devin Haney beating Kambosos. I mean, let's just be honest and unbiased about it. But I digress. When we look at it, we see that Terence Crawford even dismissed Errol Spence and even his team. Think about it. They said Errol Spence was a hype job built by the media. I'm not saying this. This is Terence Crawford's team. So you think that you deserve extra credit for being the hype job? Is that what we argued? Okay, what about Terence Crawford saying that Errol Spence not going to the Hall of Fame? So if Errol Spence not going to the Hall of Fame, then you've never been a Hall of Famer. So then what are we talking about here? What are we talking? Canelo's beat Hall of Famers. Inoue's beat Hall of Famers. These guys won a belt in another division. I mean, let's just be honest. And then when you look at Canelo, this man has literally been the most... He's literally, if you look at Canelo and you look at Terence Crawford, their physical size, they're both about 5 foot 8 inches. Except Terence Crawford actually has a longer reach than Canelo Alvarez. So yet Canelo's theoretically technically a smaller fighter when it comes to physical attributes. And he's fighting at a massive disadvantage almost every single fight out. At 168, 175, 160, always at a disadvantage. Terence Crawford has never taken a risk or a chance at any weight that high up, period. And yet he's saying that he can easily make 168. So then why are you not fighting there? I mean, let's just keep the same energy about everything. You can't hold Canelo and Inoue to a standard, but then Terence Crawford only has to fight 1 guy, and then he's up there with them like we can just ignore everything. Oh, he had a weak run, but we can just ignore that. Canelo beating 3 prime undefeated world champions don't mean nothing. Canelo fighting Dimitri Bivol at 175, and people clowning him, although he's undersized, injured, but yet Terence Crawford, Benavidez, none of those guys would go up there and fight him. I'm tired of this hypocrisy in boxing. For once, keep the same damn energy.